Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning into the Financial Investor channel. My name is Brent, and today we're going to be doing our weekly recap for February 12th through the 16th. I'll be trying to go through this very quick. My throat is still a little bit sore from getting over my cough, my cold. So I'll be going over the three major indexes, some of the news that was posted over the Facebook, some of the weekly events that took place. We had quite a bit of events that took place leading into Friday, where the stock market not really sure what's going to go on next week. But let's go ahead and cover it. So, very first thing I posted on Facebook, just talking about CenturyLink. I was taking a look at CenturyLink and Cisco this week. Two of my holdings there. CenturyLink is kind of like my underdog. This stock was down 25% back in November, December timeframe. You can see here, I have this chart pulled up. You can look at November here. I bought this thing back in September. I was like, oh yeah, it's down. They're doing their merger with Level 3. I think this is going to be a great stock kind of going forward. I bought the stock right around September. I was like, oh no, then it tanked. They had released some bad earnings. They were doing their whole merger. People lost a little bit of confidence in them. They fell down into the $13 range. They had a 15% yield on them. I was like, it's kind of risky, but at the same time, I want to average down. I believe this company is going to be turning around, so I bought a lot of shares, got like a 15% yield on costs at that position, and then I was down at that point 25% inside my portfolio. And it released, why I believe it's going forward, why I think it's going to be going great, and how they're going to be keeping their dividend. And the stock has very well recovered, up now since that period nearly 40%. So they did go up. Oh, they released their earnings. They did jump up nearly 11% during their earnings call. That did come back down a little bit. They did beat their earnings per share, but they did miss on their revenue. But it's a kind of transitional period. Level 3, that whole merger, it's nice to see that progress right now, and kind of going forward, I do believe that they're going to be showing a turnaround in not in the next 3 to 6 months, but in the next few years to come. Just kind of holding on to them with that yield on cost at the position that I bought them at, and they're now trading at an $18.90. I can only see them going up. They were upgraded to, I believe, $22 range, 22 to 26, and that's kind of where I had estimated them to be in the next 6 months to a year. So I think kind of going forward, I do think this company is going to be turning around. So we will continue to see, and that's just what I'm going to continue to hold inside my Roth IRA and such. And what else did we talk about? I'm trying to get into real estate, looking at buying either one or two rentals this year, or buying another house. I'm going to be making an offer on another house, and then we've already talked to our approval, how much we're approved for. And he said, we might as well bump it up a little bit more, so we bumped up where we're going to be approved at. And we're going to try and make an offer. If they'd accept it, then we're going to rent out our current house, move into our new house. And if they don't want to accept the offer that we're going to be offering, I don't want to overpay for a house just to have the house. So I'm not going to be overshooting what they want. I want to try and get a bargain. So if they do shoot down my offer, I have no problem staying where I'm currently at. Then I'll just buy two rentals and just kind of build up my cash flow through those in equity through those positions. And so I'm going through two courses that I found here that are free. I posted one over on Facebook. I found another one here on Bigger Pockets. So they have the beginning introduction to real estate investing. It's another free course. I'll kind of flip over to it very quickly here. So this is one over at Bigger Pockets that I found that I'm going to check out after the current one that I'm kind of going through. So those are some interesting real estate courses that I found. Posted them on Facebook. If you guys are interested in the other one, let me know. But Bigger Pockets, that's another channel I like to check out over on YouTube. One of the books that I had wanted to buy, I'm still kind of going through the Guide to Investing. I have the Single Best Investment, and I thought I bought a third one somewhere. I think my wife's reading it, but one of the other ones was The Richest Man in Babylon. This is recommended to me. It's inside my shop because this is one I wanted to pick up, but they just released an audiobook, so I love listening to audiobooks. It was only about 4.5 hours, so I just read it, or I listened to it last night while I was kind of cleaning the kitchen, doing the dishes and such, and the wifey was playing with the kiddo, so I was able to knock out this book over the course of a day, and it was a great read. Kind of covers I don't know if they're rules or like 7 steps to wealth. It was about these, the main guy, the richest man in Babylon, and his friends came and asked him, how did you become so wealthy? you're so lucky. And he's like, no, I started off just like you guys. We went to the same school. But he kind of tells them how to get to that stage. And the very first stage just begins by paying yourself. So if you got 10 coins, you would pay yourself 1 coin. So a tenth of what you earn, you would pay yourself. And then once you've reached a nice level where you feel comfortable, you've made some savings, then you want your savings to make more money, and it kind of goes on from there into 7 steps. So it's a really fun book to kind of listen to. It's read, it's typed out like in Old English, so thy and such. There's a lot of like old Shakespearean kind of style. I don't know if it would be considered Shakespearean. Anyways, great read, great listen. Talked about some of the performance for the M1 Finance app. I have my wife's Roth IRA over there, so I talked about some of the mistakes kind of going into the platform on M1 Finance and some things I would fix if I could. If I could go back and reinvest the $5,500, I would not invest it fully at once. I came up with a plan and I kind of discussed that in the video. It's still a great platform, but just the way I did it would definitely be changed. And then talked about, I'm still over at Merrill Edge. That's my portfolio where I do my investing and my research tools. So I made a whole video on some of Bank of America's, Merrill Edge's free investing tools, talking about their technical insights, the free reports you're able to get, and some of the stock stories. Talking about if you have never heard of a stock and you just want to learn about the stock, like who is the stock, what do they do, who are some of their competitors, how's their earnings, net income, how's their customers, where are they located at and such. This goes into the whole stock story. So very fun tools over at Merrill Edge. So that's basically it over on Facebook. So we already covered CenturyLink here. I had that. Now the indexes were all green this week, ending very nicely. S&P 500 up 4.3%. It's actually positive 6 days. Last Friday it was positive. I was going to make a video on Thursday, released it Friday, talking about we've already gone through 5 days. Will Friday be another positive day? I didn't know what was going to go on with Friday. I had heard some, the whole thing that took place today with 13 Russians being indicted for involvement in the U.S. elections, and this could really affect the stock market if it does go back to the current administration. If it somehow gets tied to Trump, then I could see there being more red in the front days to come. So anyways, S&P 500 up 4.3% year to date, positive 2.19. Dow Jones up 2.02% to date, up 5-day change 4.25. I believe we've already covered that. NASDAQ did go down Friday a little bit. There was uncertainty. I know my Apple stock, I bought Apple. So if you don't know, I did buy Apple. It was such a great buy. I think I talked about it last weekly review. Apple was at like $150, $160 range. I talked about Warren Buffett losing billions of dollars, and if it was like a smart choice, he'd be buying Apple right now. And then that was something that got brought up in another article this week. Was Warren Buffett dropped all of his IBM, bought all sorts of Apple. So I have Apple now, a good amount of shares. It's my main stock right now. So it was such a good buy, and I loaded up on it. So let's see here. After hours, taking a look really quickly at after hours. I like to take a look at after hours to see what's kind of going on. Stock futures are looking up. I look for banking stocks. The S&P 500 is 30% banking stocks, so a lot of times you can see where the banks are going to be heading. So I like to take a look at after hours. So here we have Wells Fargo down here. We have Cisco. Cisco was great. They released their earnings. They jumped up, I believe, like 9%. They did really well. Bank of America is a little bit down right now. General Electric's down. I know people were talking about buying General Electric. I think it was like a $13, $14 range, and they were buying it. I still think General Electric reminds me of the story of like Old Yeller. That's just not one I would want to touch. And that's basically it as far as the indexes go. Here is the chart for the day. So there was a lot of green. It was 50-50. Once the indictment took place, Facebook dropped. There was an investor, I do not know his name. I didn't really read the article. I just heard it word of mouth that he dropped Facebook due to the whole thing between Russia running ads on Facebook and then not screening them. Google also was hit a little bit due to that because of YouTube, and PayPal I know was hit a little bit because of that. I remember those three ones were hit. You can see the financial sector here did not do so well. So the overall index for the S&P 500, or the financials are a big portion of it, but they did make it out in the positive today. Very, very, barely. I believe for the day. Let's look at the day change here. They're up 0.04. And then my portfolio, between all my different platforms, my cash managed account, my IRA, my Roth IRA, my thrift savings plan, I'm up only 2% this week, so not too bad. Let's see here. Weekly wrap. Actually, it probably went up a little bit more. I did get paid out some dividends here. I have my, this is just a weekly range here, 12th through the 16th. And then I removed my accounts, but got paid out within my Roth IRA by Reality Income, $6.57. Then all these other ones are within my cash managed account, so I got paid out by Reality Income again inside my cash managed account. Paychecks, Hormel Foods, Entertainment Properties, Colgate, and AbbVie Inc. AbbVie and Pfizer were at great buys. Pfizer was down in the $30 range again. They had fell by like 9%. It was just a lot of stocks were at great opportunities to buy, and I hope everyone took advantage of those dips. So this week I made $107.78 in dividends, and those were reinvested. I forgot where, probably Apple. But weekly wrap up. So this will be the last thing to kind of cover this week, I think. So here it kind of talks about the tech-heavy NASDAQ composite climbed 5.3%. That's technology shared, outperformed, while the S&P 500 Dow Jones added 4.3 apiece. Okay, so let's see here. A little other things here. 11 out of the 11 S&P 500 sectors finished the week in positive territory, so everything is coming back up. I don't think we'll get into the 7 to 8% range that we were up year to date for the next 2 to 3 months. I don't see that kind of going on. I could see this kind of I don't see us climbing and recovering that full year to date 7 to 8%. I do see us getting there, but not within the next 3 to 6 months. So I think it'll be a steady climb. I think anything that we made this week will kind of settle down a little bit next week, and then it'll kind of swing back and forth. So that's kind of just my estimates here. We can see that utilities were up, telecom was up, real estate was up. Very strong there. Apple surged 10.2% this week. I loaded up on Apple on Monday. My wife already has it in her portfolio, so they did reclaim most of the 11 or 13.5% they had lost between January 18th and February 8th. Cisco rallied 4.7% on Thursday, hitting its best level in nearly 20 years. After reporting better than expected profits, they're increasing their security market there. So they're trying to get more into security. I use Prime, one of Prime. Let's see, what else do we use? ICE and a few other. Boy, I can't even think right now. Just my head is not able to think very clearly here. So let's just go ahead and continue. We got the yield with the 10-year Treasury. There's still some debate what's going to kind of go on into the following. This doesn't cover the whole Russia indictment, but going into next week, I'm not sure how that will affect. You can see here that once the news broke out about Russia being involved in U.S. elections, that happened early in the morning, so right around 11 or 12, and then no, probably a little bit earlier before that. I think it was around 10 my time, Pacific time. So let's see here. That would be 3 hours back. So that would be around 12 to 1 on the Eastern time. That news broke that Russia had some sort of a poll on Facebook, Google. They're running ads. They ran an ad of an LLC, and they may have affected the election of some sort. If this does go back and affect the administration, then I do think we will see some rocky events take place in the future, but who really knows? So that is basically it. Before my voice goes out, I'm going to go ahead and just say thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy the video, hit the like button below. Please remember to subscribe if you are brand new to my channel. If you have any questions about anything that was covered this week, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. If you have any areas you would like to have kind of covered in the future, I have something kind of written up to begin covering Roth IRAs if you guys are interested in checking out that. I know I had one viewer subscriber say, he'd like to get some information on Roth IRAs through a video, so I will go ahead and make a video in series on that. I use Roth IRAs. I think they are great. That's probably one of the best stock market investment tool, so I will be making some videos on that. As a friendly disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor or tax professional. The information provided is my opinion for entertainment and fun. This is not investment advice. This is just me as a financial investor trying to help others make their money work for them. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.